All right, welcome Coffee for Closers listening today, and welcome back. Sorry, took a little bit of a hiatus as I get some new guests on the show, and ultimately wanted to kick it off today. Special guest, we have a Miss Tamika Caldwell. Thank you so much for joining us, Tamika.
Yay, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, as I kind of said before this, I am excited to get to know you and learn a little bit about your journey. And I'm sure that our listeners will enjoy it as well. So if you don't know, Coffee for Closers is all about business, whatever it is. It can be real estate, it can be financial advising, insurance. We've had, church leaders on here that talked about their, nonprofits that are very much a business. And I actually love talking about some of those things and diving into the nitty gritty and metrics. But one of the things that I always highlight, because, selfishly, I always lead my shows to be what I would want to listen to. And, I have high power guests constantly. And what I don't do is let people just praise from the mountaintop. Like, if you
Right.
made it to the mountaintop, wonderful. That's fantastic. But what we really dive into here is, you've obviously made it a high place in business, but we actually want to share like some of the stories, like the nitty gritty, like, when you climb a mountain, you suffer and go through pain to get to where you're at. So we want to hear about those stories, the adversities, the pains, the failures, what you did to kind of overcome it. So again, I'm super excited for our episode today with Tamika. So Tamika runs a real estate operation here in Colorado Springs, Mountain to Sea Real Estate. She has two team members that help her. And just so you guys know, she's closed, over 40 deals this year with her team. Just got licensed and going to be expanding bi-coastal to Hawaii, which is actually what we did as well, and have a lot of fun doing that, jamming in a couple different places. But that, Tamika, the 2 second, like who you are, where you came from, just give listeners a quick listen.
Yeah, totally. So, I'm an Army brat. My mom was DOD Army, and she retired that way. So I've just, I'm from everywhere, but from nowhere. So, and
Awesome.
yeah, I've got 4 kids, and so yeah, that's me.
Cool. What got you into real estate?
So funny enough, I used to be a personal trainer, and one of my clients was a realtor, and she just was like, I think you'd be really good at this. And so COVID hit, and I used all my little stimulus checks to put me through school.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
glad to have you. And I know you're crushing it here in business. All right. So we're going to just go right here, right to right where the meat is, I guess. And I will like take full responsibility because I've been running operations for, close to 20 years. And for those of you who don't know who I am, I've been running real estate operations, multiple locations, and actually done SaaS sales, corporate sales, a lot of different things as well. I feel so bad the way that I ran business as a leader like 10 years ago. I had zero empathy for family and children. And again, this is something I can always share in a later episode, but our journey to where it was business first. All I cared about was crushing business. That was the most important thing.
Yeah.
Potentially to the point of like, was that my idol, a false idol of my
Right.
business?
Yeah.
And I look back and I didn't lead ruthlessly or anything like that, but like with families, I didn't have the empathy and like, I don't want to use the word sympathy, but like understanding that family is the most important thing out there. It's God's gift to us.
Right.
Um, Now I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, family is so important. And the people that are juggling business at a high level with families at a high level, I have the utmost respect for and lead completely different than I had done previously. So you have four kiddos, four beautiful kiddos, daughters, sons. What do you have?
Yeah. So I have one boy and 3 girls. And
Wow.
you have
Okay.
a lot of girls too, right?
Yeah, we have three daughters.
3 girls.
So
Yeah.
a lot of estrogen in your house. Thank God you have that little boy. I have a
I know.
bro fish. That's
Yeah.
what I have. That's all. Me and my bro fish.
I was like, get a dog, maybe.
Right. So I want to dive in and do this because even like as I progress forward in business, like I actually only like I'm more impressed and want to work with people with families because
Mhm.
there's weight to it and expectations and like accountability that's there that I don't have to bring. So you have
Right.
four kiddos. I want to hear like, how are you balancing running a real estate team and running four kiddos around all the stuff that you do? Like, how do you do it?
Yeah, I don't so it's funny enough, like at the beginning of this year, I felt like I was completely drowning because I had no like systems and everything was just kind of chaotic. I was trying to do all the things. Like I was trying to be the mom, like the best at being the mom. I'm like take the kids to work, whatever I have to do type of thing, but it was becoming so stressful. So I really had to just start like delegating things out, you know? And I feel like you can understand this too. It's like you've kind of in the beginning had that mentality of like, oh, no one can do it better than me, sort of thing. So I didn't want to hire anyone to clean the house. I didn't want to hire anybody to help me with the kids, you know. And then business started getting really busy, and I'm like realizing I can't be everywhere all the time, you know. And finding good help is hard, but we did find somebody who has been just like completely amazing, life changing. So that's how I do it now. She does
Uh,
everything at home and I just worry about work.
okay. So yes, you talk about like having systems in place, and I think I've heard about it too, to where like you look at your house as a CEO as well. Like
Yes.
run us through some of the systems that you have in place. Like good help. Who are they? Like what is their role in your world?
Yeah. So, her name's Savannah, and she is my house manager. So I don't grocery shop anymore. Weirdly enough, that like took a lot of time, right? To get groceries, especially when you have all the kids. So we do like our meal planning for the week. We do our grocery list for the week. We do the kids because I also homeschool. So we do like our homeschool planning activities, all of that, like at the beginning of the week, and she's just really on it for me, you know. She makes like notes, does all the things, gets all the supplies, whatever we need. And she only works part-time, so she does like 5-hour shifts, Monday through Thursday. And so I still am able to like spend time with the kids and do things like that, but during those 5 hours I'm like, okay, I know, you know, Savannah and I have met and we've made our plans. We know what's going to happen for the week. I can go to work for 5 hours, and then when I come home I can spend time with the kids. So
Awesome. So if I'm not sure if we can go there, is as far as structuring, because I've always like looked into au pairs and things like this, and I think people at high business level always look at how where's like the first place to delegate.
Mhm.
It's like, do you have a creative structure for pay, or is it like just hourly, or how did you structure things with Savannah?
Yeah, so we did it hourly. And yeah, she was our babysitter at first. And you know, when she came to babysit, she only worried about just watching the kids. And finally I was like, "Hey, you know, I kind of need more help if you're able to." And she was like, "I never thought you'd ask." So
Awesome.
yeah, I mean, she helps with the cleaning, she helps with laundry, like all of that. And we just like structured it for like hourly pay. But yeah, it has been a game changer because my house is clean, everything is organized. That was and sometimes she's not always watching the kids, right? Like there will be some days where I'll take the kids and she will just do all the house things in that 5 hours. So,
Okay. And then you said homeschooling, so you're homeschooling your kids as well. What does that look
yeah.
like?
So my oldest is in public school, but my oldest daughter is homeschooled. Last year was our first year and it was hard, I'm not gonna lie. Trying to teach somebody how to read is insane. Like, I feel like that's harder than some real estate transactions. Um, but my husband and I split the time. So he does in Colorado, you only have to have 4 hours of like actual schoolwork for the kids. So he does 2 hours in the morning. Savannah will sometimes do an hour and then I'll do like the last hour or something when I get home. So,
Okay. So it's what, 4 hours a day that they
yeah.
have to do? Okay.
Mhm.
Got it. What curriculum are you using, and where did you go to find it so people can know?
Yeah, so, I we use the Good and the Beautiful because it's, faith-based, so we use that, and then we also use, gosh, I have to think of the name of it. It was a new curriculum that I found this year, um, I'll have to send it to you 'cause literally cannot remember the name of it, but it's really good because they have, like, it's like a teacher guide, you know, to help you figure out how to do the teaching for them, especially with like math and science, because those are like the harder ones, I think. But they have like your teacher book, and then they have the actual book that the child fills out. So I think it's called Apology, Appalachian Apology. I have to send it to you. It's something with
Cool.
it.
Yeah. And listeners, at the end, we'll know where you can go find Tamika, and I'm sure she'll share it with her people as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, what you're talking about. So if you're listening to this, like, again, you can never offend me, and I'm sorry if I offend you out there, but it's like when you hear that, when you're like, running a full-time 4-kid house, running homeschooling, and actually figuring out how to structure that and run that appropriately and legally, apparently, and
Yeah,
then being able to dive into business. It's like, if you don't have kids, there is zero excuses that you should not be crushing business at any way, shape, or form. And then there's no offense meant there, but it's like, the complexity that just comes with children and family, and then being able to tap into that. So okay, so you're running the household, you're running homeschooling, make sure they're learning the way that you want them to learn,
right.
which I absolutely agree with. Now pivot into like real estate, like, okay, how am I going to go do my lead gen? How are you going to go do whatever it is? Like, walk us through you plugging into those 5 hours of work.
Yeah, so, since growing the team, I'm still able to, like, delegate a lot. This year has definitely been, like, the year of, like, delegate the task, you know? So, showings, those type of things, home inspections, whatever it is that I have to, like, physically be somewhere where for, I'm delegating to the team. My job is the lead gen, right? So, social media has been kind of like our biggest resource for lead generation. And so a lot of my time is spent doing that, but also building a referral network. And then, of course, working in the business. So, whatever deals are going on. I think that you know this, like the phone is going off constantly, you know? So, the lead gen hours really is probably just like the first 1 or 2 hours of the day. And then the rest of the hours I'm really in the business or future planning for things like that. So,
Cool. Let's dive into some business stuff. So I have structured real estate teams in all imaginable methods. I've ran 1099 Redfin employee agent models. I've ran every split model you can think of. Like, how do you currently have your team set up for, you're the rainmaker and you're pouring it down to your two agents? Like, how do you have everything structured there?
so we use Lofty, which is our CRM.
Okay.
And so whenever I get like cold leads in through the system, we put them into like a pool, and then they're set up on a drip campaign also. So those are like cold leads. Once the leads start responding or getting a response, that's when somebody from the team can pull from the pool and pick up that lead. Um, if we get leads that are like very warm leads and maybe it's somebody that needs a lot of hand holding and I might necessarily not have like time to do the hand holding, then I would just delegate it to one of the girls and we just kind of do like a I don't know if round robin is the right word, but you know what I mean, that sort of thing. I try not to like have them fight for it. Like I don't want it to be like a gladiator style.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, hey, now it's your turn for this, now it's your turn for that. So
Cool. No, that works. So, and we can go in here like to lead gen because Lofty is the CRM you use out there. There's tons of different ways you can structure business. I always suggest like EOS. So EOS at a certain level, you can kind of start running entrepreneurial organizational system. There's a book
oh,
Traction by, I think, is it is it Gino Wickman? I can't remember. The book is Traction, which it kind of gives you a different way of like looking at structuring, but lead gen. So I want to talk about lead gen for a second. So this has been the most challenging, season of my professional career. I've been running real estate teams for 15 years and other things before that. Like, tell me about the year and like how you guys have been able to push through it. But it's a season of shifting, pivoting, adapting. What worked 5 years ago for the most part doesn't work today. So like, walk us through like your legion. How are you getting your business? Like, how are you actually like tracking or monitoring what comes from what? I know you double down and do a lot of TikTok. So lead gen today in this market, go.
yes, yeah. TikTok, like you said, has been like number one for us. And TikTok is hard because you have to post constantly on it. So, I mean, I'm posting like 2, 3 times a day on TikTok, and you can kind of get burnout from it, but the reward is there, they're usually buyers. So the weird thing too about TikTok is like it's a younger demographic, but for we specialize in like VA. If you have the benefit and you want to utilize it, that's still coming from like a younger demographic, so they close. um Aside from that, TikTok is probably the first thing, and then I use the same videos on Instagram but in a different way. Instagram doesn't reward the post as much as you can type of thing. It has to be like maybe like once a day, but they reward engaging. So I spend a lot of time in my DMs on Instagram. So like engaging with other creators or like messaging, responding to messages, and then it links to my Facebook. So I don't have to post on Facebook. It just comes from TikTok. And then Facebook is like my slow grow. Those are the people that have watched you for like 6 months. And
Totally.
then they're like, hey, I'm ready to buy or something like that. So
Cool. Let's dive into TikTok just for a second. So, are you breaking down? So, obviously, if you're listening to like the algorithms, knowing what platform needs what type of posting and different content, like how are you doing like top of funnel and squeezing people to actually get call to action in your TikTok?
weirdly, like people, you can do like that thing. Where it's like, oh, if you want more information, comment this or something like that, and I'll send it to you. That usually works really well. Um, TikTok doesn't have like many chat or something that will like automatically respond. So what I started to do, because I started to get like a ton of people that were asking for information and then there's no follow up. Right.
Yep.
And then those are the ones that I put into like the cold pond and they go through Lofty. That then when I started to do was like just DM me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because and if you're really serious, like just reach out to me directly and we can do that. And I feel like that's been working fairly well too, especially during PCS seasons. That's kind of where we see like a peak. But you want to do like hyper local content. So coffee shops, places to eat, things to do, whatever it is, like the hyper local content works really well on TikTok.
Okay. This kind of takes us to our next question as well. So, okay, there's a lot of people educating on these topics. YouTube, Levi Lassick, one of our buddies who does YouTube at a super high level. As more and more people adopt and start pushing out these things, we end up with this red ocean of like a lot of people kind of doing the same thing. So,
Right.
how are you either differentiating yourselves from all the other people or going and finding blue ocean, or are you just rolling your sleeves up and just fighting it out in the red water? Like, what do you do?
That's so funny you say that 'cause, to be honest, my sister got really good at TikTok and hers, like, blew up, and I realized that, like, my algorithm had changed because we some people would message us thinking that we're each other, you know? My name's Tamika, her name's Talisa, so, like, it it gets kinda mixed up. So then, I first tried to do the fight it out. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily like I'm not competing with her, right? She's on my team, but like I tried to push my algorithm more. But then it really wasn't working, to be honest. Like I was still getting engagement, but just not as much. So then I shifted to like, okay, just make your content different. You know what I mean? I started focusing, I had to go back and look at like what had worked previously for me. And weirdly for me it was like the food content and I eat a lot, so I'm like, okay, cool, I'll just go back to doing the fun food stuff that I like to do, which led to like doing things that I actually enjoyed, like we're going to like the Broadmoor and taking the kids to see the big gingerbread thing and like, you know what I mean, like those type of things. I just started doing things that like were personal to me that I like doing, and it seemed to work well. So
Cool. No, I love that because it's I always say in this, it's not necessarily business, it's a lifestyle.
right.
And so when you can actually like take some parts of your life, share it, and then you're just doing essentially your thing and sharing with others, then people actually want to work with you.
Right.
We have a no asshole rule in real estate, like to where I think when I first got in, a lot of people do this. You think you need to be this certain person that you're not quite,
Right.
and then you end up working with the wrong people. So it's great when you actually are like authentic yourself and then usually pull in people that kind of vibe with that content as well. So you said the algorithm changed. Did you notice like just your algorithm changed or TikTok changed the algorithm in general?
I think it was just mine. And to be honest, I had I did this thing with Lana Rodriguez. She had us all like sit on this panel and like talk about social media. And I motivated everyone to go on TikTok, basically. And then I started, like you said, like the red water. I started seeing a lot of real estate agents doing like similar content creation, and that's when I kinda started seeing, like, my algorithm shift, and, at first when you're seeing that, you kinda have, like, a slight panic, right? Because especially if that's, like, your main source of
Yeah,
lead gen, and like you said, I tried to fight it out, but then it really came down to, like, I can't fight this, and I can't hate on them because I told them to do it, you know what I mean? And, like, I want everybody to win, like, there's enough business, I'm not in competition with any of these people. So, it really did become, like, a shift of, like, you just be more authentic to your true self, and like you said, you'll connect with those type of people who wanna work with you, so
for sure. Yeah, I've said this a couple times too, to where you're constantly seeking the blue ocean, and so even if you're in a niche that has some traction, but it's not quite Redwater or everyone is in it, you constantly, and this is like for Nisa and I, we constantly have to recreate ourselves like every 2 years. And
yes.
like things are progressing so fast and they're going to continue to progress faster and faster that you constantly be having to be looking for like the next opportunity, the next forward thing. And again, I always give Nisa credit for this because back in like 2010, when we were getting into real estate, Nisa was like, I'm going to start putting your listings on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm like, that shit sounds crazy. Like,
Right.
but what, because there was no real estate on Facebook and Instagram. So same thing to you, to where like there was us and I can't remember, there was like one other agent in Hawaii that we kind of started doing it at the same time.
Right.
And we chit chat on it here and there, but like people were turning us into the board. They're like, they're putting listings on Facebook. Like,
Oh my gosh.
so you're welcome, or you're welcome, Facebook and Instagram, for like helping usher in, not being able to see anything but real estate in your feed.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, constantly have to like look at and evaluate what you're doing. Even like I'm doing a lot more YouTube now,
Yeah.
and I'll post stuff and I literally will kind of track the metrics for the first like 5 minutes. And then I'll realize I have to change the thumbnail to where
Mm.
you constantly having to like go back and check the algorithm and how is this performing? How is that doing? What do you think's next for you? So you're on TikTok, you kind of switched it up a bit to like refine your niche. Like, what do you see that you're going to be pushing more in?
Yeah, I think like the hyper local content is kind of what I'm more focused on, and in like a fun way. So actually last week I looked at December and I blocked off a bunch of like fun things for the family that I would normally want to do, but I prioritized it. And instead of like, okay, I have to work these days or whatever, it's like, okay, we're going to go do this fun thing, but behind the scenes mom is going to record the entire thing and then post it.
Totally.
And then we have started building YouTube, which, YouTube is like a longer game, right? Like, but it's one of those things that is like once you create it, it's on there forever. I don't need to post 3, 4 times a day on YouTube. So that's kind of the goal. But yeah, I'm just, I want to and I feel like you can understand this too when you have so many kids, you get into like the motion of work constantly, and it's been a great year. I'm very thankful, but I do feel like I have not spent as much time with my kids as I would want to. And it's hard to like slow down after you've reached like a certain level of production. So my goal really is like the hyper local content, do things that are fun with the family, do things with the family that's fun, or like the homeschool and stuff. And then there's really no harm in like doing that and having a little bit of work with it, like recording it, edit it later, whatever it is, but kill two birds with one stone type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. You got to be careful to not attach your identity to business and real
Right.
estate. Because I mean, that's one thing that Nisa and I kind of went through is we were always, I'm a team leader. I'm a team leader. We're jamming business, jamming business. And then we had
Right.
kids and went through the ringer and completely had to be like, step back and be like, we're new people. We're different people.
Mhm.
And, luckily I had separated myself, but I had buddies because if again, tough market last year, 70% of mortgage brokers or lenders out there did not renew. So 70%
Wow.
of lenders last year gone. Like
Wow.
the market was so difficult, they went and retired, took different jobs. And I think we're projected for like another 70% cleanse. And so you,
Mm.
you look at that, and I have some buddies that were high level lenders that they very much their identity was lending. And when we were going through what our pits and learning lessons, they were going through it. And it was just like, don't attach your identity to business. Like business provides life, not life to do business. So
Yes. Yeah.
that you gotta be on that point. So real quick, like what is your superpower? I mean, I think we've talked a little bit about it, but like what if you were to look at like my superpower is X, like what is Tamika Caldwell superhero?
I feel like my superpower is so lame because I feel like every mom says it, but yeah, I'm a mom. Like that's really what it is. It's just because it's like the patience, you know? It goes like with business. You have to have an enormous amount of patience in real estate. And I think that you also have to have like a stern type of mentality. It's kind of like when you like have to discipline your children, like, hey, I'm being serious. It's the same. I don't like to compare it to being a mom, I guess, but it's kind of similar, you know? So, yeah, and then also too, like they drive me. I think too, sometimes when people have kids, I was talking to my older sister about this. She's not in real estate, but she doesn't have any kids. So she was telling me like sometimes it's hard for her to have that like motivation, like she has to self motivate herself, you know? And like you were saying, like people, you know, when you're driving hard on business and you're like, come on, we gotta do this. And some people just don't have it in them. I think when you have kids though, you're like, I have no other choice. You know, I need to do this. There's no plan B. So yeah.
No plan B, no safety net. Yeah, it's your why grows and then your world grows around your why, not like what you do for things. But yeah, it's I would definitely say that's a great superpower having those kids. And yeah, I've absolutely loved getting to hang out with my kids a lot and just the 4.5, 2.5, and 4 month old periods. I wouldn't trade
Oh,
it for the
four
world.
months is
Oh
so
yeah.
crazy.
Yep. That's the baby. Wouldn't
Oh,
trade it for the world. It's been a special gift. And I know you have kids so well. Okay, so we're there. You guys, you've persevered through insanely difficult markets. You are growing a team, going by coastal. I want to dive into a little bit on like the pit and some of the trenches. So, like when you look back and you think back, what was like the greatest adversity? Like, what was the hardest time where you're just like in it? You're like, I want to give up. I don't want to move forward. What was that time in that moment? And then like walk us through like what you did on a day to day basis to like keep your mindset moving forward and to get where you're at now.
yeah. So it's funny, my first 2 years of real estate, I was pregnant, in my first 2 years, and I think I was just stuck in, like, trying to keep the bills paid, you know what I mean? So, that kinda, like, kept me going, but then after that, I felt like this sense of like I had no purpose almost, you know. I'm trying to like juggle all these things with the kids and a new baby and I'm watching all of these. I'm comparing myself, right? And comparison is like that'll kill you, you know. So I'm comparing myself to other women who look fantastic, and I just had a kid, and I'm trying to like reach their level. And I felt like I was drowning. I just had like all these things going on constantly, and I'm like, I just have no systems. I have nothing, right? I that's when I stepped into like coaching. So Lindsay Litton, she's my coach, and she helped me get to like a point of like peace, finding all the systems and like actually like writing things or not even writing things down. I used to write things down and then I'd lose a notebook and it felt like my whole life crashed. So I'm like putting stuff like in a computer or somewhere that it will always be, you know. But that's when I felt like I became a CEO of my business. And you know, I've the only other time that I've and I guess it was before I got into real estate. I felt, you know, I went through divorce. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she was premature. And so that was really tough. But there's always like the light at the end of the tunnel, you know, and God will always provide. I think that those are my biggest things. Whenever I feel extremely low, I'm like, you've been lower than this. Like, why are you crying?
Yeah.
So
So, and you said you lost your purpose. Like how so? Like, how did you lose your purpose? You have kids, which kind of create your why of today. Did you lose your purpose in saying like you're not really doing business that much? You're focusing on the kiddos that are coming, or you lost your purpose on focusing on the kids and not necessarily the business?
yeah, yeah. I felt like I had lost purpose in myself almost, you know? Like I wasn't really happy. And like you said, I was like not spending so much time with the kids. And so kids will call you out. Like they'll be like, "You're always at work. You never hang out with us." And you know, they might be joking, but like that hurt my feelings because they're right. You know, I'm always at work. And then if I try to spend time with them, then I'm losing out on business, you know? And so you're caught in between like pulling yourself this way, pulling yourself that way, and then you're just like, well, who even am I? You know, what is my purpose supposed to be in life? Is it supposed to be crushing sales? Is it supposed to be a mom? You know what I mean? So you're just kind of like, yeah, I don't feel like I felt didn't feel like I fit in anywhere, essentially.
For sure. Yeah, I think you bring up a highlight that Nisa talks about a lot, and I've talked to, my sister and just a lot of females in businesses. I think women are held to such a high standard today in
Right.
terms of you're supposed to be a great mom, run an amazing household, basically full-time mother. You're supposed to, I don't know, homeschooling's pretty popular today where you're supposed to be a full-time homeschool teacher.
Right.
And then you're supposed to, crush business and produce
Yeah.
and probably, look amazing doing it. And so like I think women
Exactly.
absolutely have like this, four-dimensional chaos that they're constantly compare because comparison is the thief of joy.
Right.
Pros of social media is yeah, you can go out there and people can see you and you can lead gen on it. The con of social media is you can see shit around the world that you're not supposed to see. You are
Right.
not supposed to see, someone's chapter 14 when you're on chapter 2 building a new life,
Right.
and then you constantly have those gaps to where I think it steals a lot of joy in life. And it's everyone's doing it. Control the scroll, doom scrolling, whatever you want to call it. People are
Right.
on social media. You're seeing, and again, that's to even say if it's what you're seeing is real, because I think, especially today, 90% of what you see out there is just total BS or fake
Right.
or smoke and mirrors. Like, look at my life. It's so amazing. It's like, no, it's
Yes.
not, dude. You just went through, chaos in your life, your business went bankrupt, your
Right.
relationships are on the fritz. So, all
Yeah.
right, I want to touch base here too because I think this can hit home for a lot of people. You went through a divorce. Wherever you want to go throughout that process, like what was the pit that came from divorce, or was it salvation, getting away, and then like life after divorce, like how were you able to like cope? And again, identities, like you were married and a wife and then not to where you're now creating this new version of yourself. Like if you're cool with it, just walk us through like what that was like, and then life after divorce and what you're doing now.
Yeah. So, I didn't want the divorce. I had just had my daughter, my second child, and she was premature. So she was like 28 weeks. She was like 2 pounds. She was like the tiniest little thing. And, my ex husband, I guess he just had other ideas of what he wanted in life. But for me, you're going through postpartum and then somebody's also filing divorce while you're going through that. It was a really tough time. And I didn't know if my daughter was gonna make it. So, I was really struggling with a lot of things. She was in the NICU for, like, 3 months. Um, yeah, man, that was, like, the hardest thing I've ever dealt with in my entire life. But I after that, I was like, "Okay, I have to go somewhere to, like, pick myself up." So, I actually just drove down to Texas and stayed with my grandmother for several months, you know? Um, and then, when I came back, COVID happened. And so weirdly enough, I've just never been like a quitter, you know. I went through a lot of hard things. I think I hyper focused on fitness at the time, and to just kind of like keep my mind clear. And that's when my client was like, you should get into real estate, So that was like the next best thing for me. It's like, okay, I don't want to, I wasn't really making good money, but I was making enough money at the time, but we were living in like a small apartment. And I'm like, okay, I don't want my kids to always be like this.
Yeah,
So put myself through real estate school. That gave me a motivation. Also, I am that type of person. Like if I have like a goal in mind, then I can hyper focus on that goal and push myself until I get it, basically. So
totally.
yeah, yeah. And that helps a lot. I think you have to have those things, especially if you're like in a really deep, dark place like that, or you're feeling extremely depressed. You have to find the goal to focus on. And it wasn't easy. I mean, with 2 kids, I'm staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I gotta wake up again at 6. So I was, like, running on fumes, but getting stuff done. Um, when I got my license well, actually, right before I got my license, I met my husband now, and he's just a big positive person. So, I think that helped a lot, and he also helps a lot with the kids.
Cool.
Um, and I think it's hard for a man sometimes too, like if their woman is kinda like the breadwinner or doing like majority of the stuff, and we've battled with that, but now he's just extremely supportive with anything I do in the business, and that helps a lot in our family structure. You know, he helps with the homeschool, with like cooking and like doing things like that that like I can't always be around for. And then he also highly supports me in my business because he's our videographer, you know. So
Awesome.
yeah, it turned out good. Like, it turned out great, you know, like, life is good. I have no complaints, and then too, I really had to turn to God. Like, I had to really build my relationship there because I could have fallen. I could have fallen in so many aspects of the divorce and all of that hard stuff, like, you just feel like nothing, you know? You like you said, you've lost your identity, you've lost all that, and but weirdly enough, I had more time to myself, right? Because now I'm sharing custody with another person, so every time the kids would go somewhere, at first, it feels really sad, like, you feel like they're not around, I don't know what to do, and then I tried to turn it into, like, a positive thing, like, "Okay, I'm gonna read some books, I'm gonna study, I'm gonna, like, utilize this time to make my life better and clean the house or do whatever so that when they come back home, it's like a really great environment for them." So,
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. What would you say kept you just one foot after another? Because again, it's like I think in a lot of high achievers and high producers, like you want to like jump and leap forward. But
yeah.
in those times that like when you're going through, absolute storm of life, like you have to just put one foot in front of the other. Like what was causing you to be able to do that day in and day out?
Yeah, for me, it's like routine, you know? And weirdly, I'm not like a routine person, but structure helps me a lot. So if I know, okay, I'm supposed to get up and go work out, you know, that's just step number 1. Go accomplish that first thing. Now I'm gonna make breakfast for the kids. Spend time with the kids. That's number 2. And if you have like those things in place, then I feel like it keeps the day going and it keeps like you going. And then like 3 months looking back, you're like, wow, look at how much I've accomplished. Right. So maybe it's just like setting the expectation of like, I'm going to accomplish these small goals. They're always small goals. I think we can get so trapped into like, what's the big overall goal? But then it feels so, um, you feel discouraged when you don't achieve the big goal and I had to just focus on all the very small goals in the beginning.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Just baby steps. Anytime I set a big goal, I always actually set like micro goals beneath it. Because
Yeah.
yeah, human nature, we overestimate what we can do in a year, but then underestimate what we can do in 5 years. So, okay, so you get through the storm. You finally got like your head above water. You can stand there. So at this place, you have a completely wiped foundation. How did you go about now creating this new identity or version of yourself to continue to build forward from there?
Um, hmm. I don't know. I feel like I'm still figuring it out, to be honest, Travis, because you know now we've opened up a new market, and I'm struggling with that, you know, because it's like, do I leave everything? And maybe it's not necessarily leaving Colorado behind, right? I've built the team here now. They should be able to continue doing the things that we've been doing. But if I go to Hawaii, then I have to start over almost, you know? So yeah, I'm stuck in a place of like, do I want stability or do I want to continue growth? So
Totally. And it's so you're not starting over, but you're starting from scratch. We did that too to where like I don't even know. Back in like 2016, 17, 18, we had achieved what we kind of wanted to. Like we were like, you know, brokers at like 25 years old. We opened up our own real estate company. We were like top 20 teams in the state of Hawaii at like 26 years old.
that's crazy.
So at the
That's
time though,
just
we were like
crazy.
it was well, yeah, there was a lot of ego involved, which has been checked numerous times since then.
Yeah.
But there was always this calling of like expansion. Like we wanted to
Mhm.
expand from Hawaii to Colorado, and it was like a new adventure. And it was
Right.
kind of like, okay, if we could do this here, I want to see like I want to go and test it out in a new market. Can I go and grow a team and jam business the same way we're doing it here? So it was kind of like, and plus we were in Hawaii for like close to 20 years, and we're like, we got to go see other sunsets. Like I don't want to
Right.
get through my entire life and be like, man, we saw the Hawaii sunset our entire life, which is absolutely gorgeous. We miss it every day, but I
Yeah.
want to get around life and know that we've seen as many sunsets as we can from different places in the world. So we always had this calling to expand to different markets and try things out. And again, it was that weird calling, like from like 18, 19 specifically. It was kind of like we
Mm.
were like, I don't know what we're supposed to do, but like God is calling us there. And it's one of my favorite quotes is from the Matrix movie for some reason, but it just hits so perfectly for me to where, Morpheus is basically saying like, I do not fear the path ahead of me, not because I know something that you do not, but because the path that has led me here. And so you have to
That's a
look.
good one.
I love it. I love it so much. It just says so much of faith, of having faith
Right.
in your path forward, because you can look at the path forward and it's like this rickety, rickety, tiny little trail on the side of a cliffside mountain that you're like, that looks scary as hell.
Yes.
But the path that brought us here, it was like being blindfolded on a cliffside trail that God guided us here. So if you know that God
Yeah.
can guide you through the crazy path to where you are now, you have to have faith that he's going to guide you on the crazy ass path ahead of you. And so there was just this calling of like,
Oh, good.
let's expand to Colorado, try it out, try different markets. And so
Right.
we bought this house here because, if you don't know, Hawaii buyers in Colorado are worse than California buyers. I was like, that is a home I can buy for $500,000. Like, take my
I
money.
know.
It's
Take it right
crazy.
now.
Take it right now. And so we bought a house, basically sight unseen. We had a buddy agent here that I was like, I don't care, dude. Pick whatever fixtures you want. Like, just
Right.
do it. And we just started shipping. We would literally put a box. Like I'd go buy a giant like 3x3 FedEx box and put it in the middle of our living room.
Uh-huh.
And we just started filling it up with stuff that we kind of knew we didn't really need then. And once the box
Right.
was filled, we shipped it to Colorado. And we just
Crazy.
continuously did that for a year. We traveled back and forth. Every time we'd travel, we'd bring 2 suitcases and then unload stuff and then
Oh,
go back.
smart.
So for a year, we were just sending stuff here and bringing it to where eventually it was like what, October 2019, I think, that we were like, most of our shit is in Colorado now. So I
Right.
guess we're going to pivot and make Colorado home base and
Yeah.
run Hawaii from there. And this, AKA, I want to get here because this was a massive learning lesson for me in running different locations. And I will say this because we did this like crazy. No one was selling in different markets,
Right.
and people saw the way that we were able to rainmake and lead and manage people in different locations while we were living here.
Yeah.
And subsequently, I think about 8 people kind of follow suited and are like, I'm going to go move either to Colorado or wherever it is.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, everyone, for
Yes, you did.
leading the way and being like, I don't know what this is going to look like, but we are going to try it.
Do it.
And
Journeyman.
but I get to this because I was younger as a manager. I managed reactively. Something would
Mm.
happen, I'd go and then deal with it. Right.
Right.
So we're running business from Colorado, and COVID hits. As you were kind of talking about,
Yeah.
and it was harder to travel. So
Mm.
it kind of hit a point in this switch flipped for me because I was like, I can't reactively manage any longer. I'm in
Right.
Colorado and I can't just because literally a fire would break out in Hawaii. I'd fly to Hawaii and I'd go put the
Mm.
fire out, and then I'd fly back to Colorado. And I was always reactively managing. It hit a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't reactively manage. I have to manage 3 steps ahead always now.
Mhm.
And so it actually made me way better of a manager managing from Colorado with things in Hawaii to where, we always talk about red flags in real estate. And this is any business. When someone has a red flag, you can either deal with it or not. And
Right.
if you don't deal with red flags, they'll bite you in the ass. And
Right.
so it was like, all right, if there's any red flag in my life, in my business, just had to deal with. So that
Yeah.
will be something for you to where something good will happen. I think you can run in both locations,
Mhm.
but you have to become a different version of Tamika to be able to do
Yeah.
that. You have to be super manager, super leader,
Mm.
and it'll actually progress you in business. It will be cool when you do it and you decide to pull that trigger.
Oh, man, I know, and that's where, I asked ChatGPT. I'm like, "Chat, should I move or not?" And basically, it said that weirdly. It was like, "Do you want stability or do you want growth?" And it's hard, it's scary, right? Like you said, it's gonna be calling you to be like a completely different person. And I'm like, part of me is like, I don't want to push myself sometimes, but then I can see it 3 years from now. I'm going to be mad at me if I didn't. You know what I mean? Like, why didn't you push yourself to do those things? Why did you settle for this instead? So,
Yep. For sure.
Man, you honestly, like, yeah, I look up to you guys so much. That's crazy because it's insane. It's very brave. It's very scary to do those things, and you guys did it, man. Like, that's man, yeah, all hats off to you because I really never seen that many, like, people in 2 different markets like that, and just, like, packing all your guys' stuff up and doing it and, like, leading from different places is very hard to do, and I think that it's really, underappreciated, so
Well, we appreciate it always. And the same point to yours that you did with TikTok is you will have emulation. People will emulate what you do, and that's why you constantly got to be pushing forward. And you'll try stuff, it won't work. You'll try stuff and it works, and then people will start to copy it.
right.
So that's why you just got to constantly move forward. And the one thing, let's see, you're kind of going opposite because it was a life hack that it was clicking in my head where it's like I can close Hawaii priced business, which is $1 million median sales price.
Mhm.
Living in Colorado in 2018, 19, the cost of living here was like nothing. So I was like, total life hack, right?
Right.
You're going to go backwards. You're going to more expensive. So if there was one thing that I would suggest, it's like, don't build a team in Hawaii. Like,
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
solo, maybe a
Mhm.
helper, TC, of course,
Right.
jam business, get your name out, build rapport and reputation, and then maybe grow later on. Cause
Yep.
that was, again, full transparency with what we did is I was a team leader. I was a rainmaker. I always
Right.
ran teams. I've been running teams for, a decade. So when I came to Colorado, I was like, naturally, I'm going to build a team.
Mhm.
I shouldn't have built a team in
Yeah.
Colorado. Like I should have dove in myself,
Mhm.
solo, learned the market, learned the different agents, and
Right.
because the margins just don't support it. If you close $1 million deal in Hawaii, that's a pretty hefty closing. If you're
Right.
closing $300,000 and $400,000 deals in Colorado, there's just not as much juice to squeeze, essentially. So
Right. That's
that's
a
one of
good
the
tip.
yep, that was one of the learning lessons that we had here. If I could do it over again, I would do it different. Um, So where are you now? What do you have planned moving forward besides obviously going and breaking into a new market?
Yeah, yeah, that's really, like, my big focus right now. And then, of course, like, wanting to, like, do the YouTube channel. Weirdly, I love content creation, and I think that's why I'm able to generate leads, and it's more fun for me to do, like I said, like, things that are pertaining to my life. So I think that we will just kind of copy paste the same thing for Hawaii. And I think I really do think it will be fun. Like, of course, I'm nervous about the money aspect, building the business and everything, but, like, stepping into a new place and, like, learning all the new things there, because I was in Hawaii in, like, 2010, so it's completely different. Like, they have a train now. I'm like,
Yeah,
"What?" So, we never had a train before, so and everything's building. Like, builders in Eva Beach and Kapolei is just like, "What? That's crazy. It was never there before." So, um, I'm really trying to look at it like that, and I'm really, really, really trying to, like, follow God in, like, everything. I just wanna, like, be at peace and, like, be in a good place for my family, and I think the homeschool aspect will be great over there too. Like you said, it's more popular now, so Colorado Springs actually has a lot of support, but yeah, it's gonna be different, so we'll see.
difference, fun. Yeah, when we were in Hawaii, so we were out in Hawaii like 2006 till pretty much 2020. Before Kailua and Lanakai were like super cool. Like literally, like
Yes.
Kailua was pretty like cruise, and then it was like was it 2008, 9, or 10 that they were like the tourist buses started to drop tourists out
Yeah.
there, and now it's
It's blown up.
craziness.
And it's funny
Yeah,
because, like, that area sells quickly. Like, if you watch, like, markets, homeschool in the market out there, they're, like, gone like that. Everyone wants to be over there. So I'm like, "Should I move back to Kaneohe?" But when I lived in Kaneohe, it was not like that, So it was a good place, but it was so far out of the way. Everyone kept saying how far it was, but
yeah. West Side was like not popular. Like everyone was like, "Oh yeah, the Ferrises are doing well," but they're West Side. And now I see all those agents West Side, and I'm like, "Hey, what are you
you
doing
remember
over
what you
there?"
said? Like, that's my
Yeah,
territory.
yeah. That was West Side. That wasn't cool. Uh,
Yes, yeah.
but the reason why I was so open to it is when I looked at a single family. Okay, single family at the time was like Hawaii Kai East Side,
Right.
1.2 mil, and a single family, the exact same home West Side was like 600K. I was like, they have to catch up. Like
Yeah.
this home eventually is going to catch up to East Side. And now it basically has. And even because during COVID, West Side blew up, literally
Yeah.
like Hawakale, Eva Beach, Kapolei, like skyrocketed. Well, your higher price point places, Kailua, Kaneohe, Hawaii Kai, they definitely increased, but they didn't have like 100%, jump in value like the West Side did. So
Right.
it was more like, okay, well, Kailua was expensive and it's still
It's
just kind
still
of
expensive.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but West Side, like DR Horton's putting those, I can't remember the name of them,
Yeah.
the Hawakale down on the ocean side, 3.5 mil. Like,
Yes. Yes.
jeez,
Yeah, you're right.
it's ridiculous.
It's
So,
crazy how they've built that out, and you're right, like, it was not, like, nobody really wanted to go to the West Side, right? Yeah,
no,
and it's crazy, like, they've got the train over there, they've got builders over there, they're building, like, all this Waikai and, like, cool hangout spots, and it's still more affordable than the East Side, so
totally. And your family is Big Island?
yeah, yeah. So my mom
Okay.
lives in Big Island, and I thought about it, but I think Big Island's just a little too slow for me. I think I might lose my mind.
Yep. Nope, for
You
sure.
know? Yeah. I'm like, my mom's always like, "Come over." I'm like, "I'm not retired yet, though," you know?
Yeah,
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe dabble a little bit in Big Island because she's there, but yeah, I can't live there right now. So,
that's okay.
yeah.
So, Tamika, had a lot of fun. We talked about a lot of things. We actually got into some really cool topics that people can learn a lot about. Where can people find you? So, listeners, if you want to learn more about Tamika, where she's at, what she's going, and how she can help you, Tamika, what are like your social handles? Where should people go?
Yeah, everything is Tamika Caldwell. Instagram is Tamika.Caldwell, TikTok is Tamika.Caldwell, and Facebook is Tamika Caldwell.
Well,
So,
you heard it, guys, and that's a Caldwell for
yes.
Caldwell. Go on, give her a follow, give her some love. Other than that, though, thank you for listening. Coffee for Closers. I had so much fun and look forward to our next episode.
Thanks, Travis. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Tamika.